In a kingdom divided not by war but by silence, the elves of the Hidden Realm lived beneath the ancient trees of the Eloria forest, mysterious, immortal, and untouched by time. Meanwhile, the human kingdom of Veridale thrived with bustling cities, castles of stone, and hearts ruled by duty more than desire. Between these two worlds lay an invisible boundary, sealed by an ancient pact never to be broken. But as the crimson moon rose for the first time in a century, fate stirred restlessly. Deep within Eloria, Prince Alar, heir to the Elven throne, stood at the edge of the veil separating his world from the humans. He was drawn by dreams, visions of a woman with golden hair and sorrowful eyes, calling to him from the mist. She was no elf, she was human, and though he had never met her, he felt as if their souls had been woven together long before time began. Princess Alina of Veridale lived a life gilded with expectations, but hollow with loneliness. She was beloved by the people and admired for her grace, but behind the palace walls, she was a prisoner to tradition. Her father, King Thandor, had promised her hand to the cruel Lord Malric in exchange for military allegiance. Alira's heart, however, belonged to the forests beyond, wild, unknown, and forbidden. For weeks, she had been dreaming of a strange figure, watching her from the trees, with eyes that glowed like silver fire. Each night, she awoke with her heart racing, whispering a name she didn't remember learning, Alar. She didn't know he was real, but one evening, her feet carried her to the edge of Eloria, and there, beneath the crimson moon, she saw him. The world stilled. Alar stepped from the shadows, his presence ethereal yet undeniable. His voice was like wind through leaves, ancient and melodic. "You came," he said, as if their meeting had been foretold. Alira's breath caught. She should have run. No human had seen an elf in generations, and many believed them to be legends. But her instincts betrayed her fear. She stepped closer, drawn to the calm intensity in his gaze. They didn't speak of names or kingdoms, only of dreams, of longing, of a strange pull neither could explain. In that moment, the veil between worlds seemed to dissolve. Their first meeting was brief, but it ignited a flame neither magic nor law could extinguish. Days turned into weeks, and Alira returned to the forest again and again. Each time, Alar was waiting. They spoke in riddles, in poetry, in laughter that echoed through the ancient groves. He showed her wonders hidden to human eyes, flowers that bloomed in moonlight, rivers that sang, stones that whispered old stories. In return, she shared human tales of love, music, and rebellion. Their connection deepened, forbidden yet pure. But every step toward each other risked unraveling the fragile balance between their worlds. Alar's mother, Queen Lysandra, had warned of the humans' ambition. "They take what they don't understand," she had said. And yet, Alar believed Alira was different, until the day her secret was discovered. A lone ranger of Eloria followed Alar and witnessed their meeting. Furious, he returned to Queen Lysandra, who summoned her son with wrath in her voice. "You risk exposing us all," she hissed. "Would you doom our kind for a fleeting human fancy?" Alar stood his ground. "It's not fleeting, it's fate." Meanwhile, in Veridale, a curious handmaiden reported Alira's disappearances to the king. Thandor, already suspicious, sent spies to follow her. One night, as Alira ran into the woods, cloaked in moonlight, Soldiers followed. They saw Alar, his ears, his glow, his unearthly presence, and they panicked. A spear was thrown. Blood stained the moss. Alar fell. Elira screamed, throwing herself over his body. "No!" she cried. The soldiers froze, realizing too late that he posed no threat. Alar's wound shimmered with silver, and he whispered her name with trembling lips. Elira's tears fell onto his chest, glowing with a strange light. From the trees, figures emerged, elves, silent and grim. The soldiers were disarmed, surrounded by magic. Queen Lysandra herself stepped forward, her face a mask of pain and fury. "This is what comes of loving a human," she spat. But Elira stood tall. "Then punish me, not him. I chose this." Her voice, though shaking, held the fire of a queen. A decision was made. To save Alar's life and prevent war, a pact was struck. Elira would be taken to Eloria, not as a prisoner, but as a guest, to prove her intentions. If she brought harm, she would be turned to stone. If she brought peace, the ancient boundaries might be rewritten. The king, though reluctant, agreed. Elira vanished from Veridale, and rumors spread of her abduction by forest spirits. In truth, she walked beneath the canopy of Eloria, surrounded by beings of light and song. Alar recovered slowly, and each day their bond grew stronger. But not all elves trusted her. Whispers echoed through the trees. "She will break him." Elira struggled to fit into a world not made for humans. The language of the leaves, the silence of the stars, the eyes that watched her from every tree. It was beautiful, but lonely. Alar did all he could to shield her, to show her the good, the gentle, the eternal. But doubt crept into both their hearts. Could love truly survive between two worlds destined to repel each other? Elira tried to prove herself, learning the customs, the ancient songs, the way of the forest. She healed injured birds, helped gather moonfruit, and listened to the elders. Yet one name kept haunting her: Lord Malric. Back in Veridale, Lord Malric was enraged. He had lost his bride, and with her, his path to the throne. He rallied his forces, accusing the elves of witchcraft and treason. He promised the king power, gold, and dominance, if only he allowed war. Thandor, torn between pride and fear, agreed to a siege. A great army marched toward Eloria. The forest stirred. Animals fled. Magic thickened the air like mist. Queen Lysandra summoned Alar. "You brought this," she said coldly. "Now fix it." Alar and Elira stood at the border of war, knowing only one thing could stop the bloodshed: a vow made before the gods. Elven tradition spoke of the bond of flame, an eternal connection forged between soulmates of different worlds. But it had never been attempted between an elf and a human. To do so was to give up immortality or embrace it. If successful, Alar would become mortal. If not, Elira's soul would be torn from her body. Despite the risk, they agreed. As drums of war sounded beyond the trees, they stood before the sacred flame, watched by both kingdoms. Their hands intertwined, their eyes locked. A song older than time filled the air. "I choose you," Alar whispered. "In this life and the next." The flame roared. Light exploded outward, blinding all. When it faded, Elira stood trembling, and Alar, What's changed? No longer glowing, no longer ethereal. His eyes still held wisdom, but his heart beat like a man's. He had chosen love over eternity. The elves bowed their heads. Even Queen Lysandra shed a silent tear. At the forest's edge, King Thandor arrived, seeing his daughter safe and witnessing a miracle he couldn't deny. Lord Malric, furious and humiliated, tried to strike, but the forest itself turned again. Peace was declared. A new alliance formed between Eloria and Veridale, with Elira and Alar as its living symbol. But peace did not mean ease. Their love would be tested by time, by politics, by their own fears. Alar had given up immortality, and age would come swiftly. Elira, though human, would now outlive him. This irony did not break them. It made their days together more precious. They rebuilt what had been broken: bridges, trust, and dreams. Their story spread across both kingdoms, a tale not just of love, but of choice, of sacrifice, of unity. Years passed. Children were born, half elven, half human, bridging the gap between two worlds that had once feared each other. The forest and the city began to intertwine. Songs were written about the lovers under the crimson moon and the flame that burned between them. Elira took the throne of Veridale with Alar by her side, ruling with wisdom and compassion. But with each winter, Alar grew older, his elven grace dimming. Elira knew the time would come. She held him tighter every night, refusing to mourn what hadn't been lost yet. Their love had already rewritten the laws of magic. On Alar's final day, the forest bloomed out of season. The trees wept silver sap. Elira sat beside him, their fingers intertwined like the roots of the oldest oak. "Do you regret it?" she asked softly. "Not for a moment," he whispered. As his last breath faded, the flame from their bond flickered into her chest. He was gone, and yet not. That night, Elira walked into the woods alone, and the trees sang. A spirit, glowing faintly, followed her through the glade. Not ghost, not memory, but love transformed. And from that night on, the elves said the forest was never truly silent again. If this story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Subscribe to Elven Hearts for more magical tales of passion, sacrifice, and timeless romance from the realms of elves and humans. Tap the like button if you believe that love can bridge any world, and share your thoughts below. Would you give up eternity for love? Turn on notifications and stay enchanted, because in every shadowed glade and every whisper of wind, love is waiting to be found. Until next time, may your heart remain open and your soul ever curious.